For this micro lesson, we will cover the topic of the Nonpoint Source Pollution Management Program. The learning objectives for this micro lesson include defining what nonpoint source pollution is, discussing what and who the Nonpoint Source Pollution Management Program is and what their program mission is, discuss how soil conservation districts can get involved in the program, and provide examples of successful nonpoint source projects across North Dakota. Let's start by defining what nonpoint source pollution is. Nonpoint source pollution is any pollutant that is delivered to a surface or groundwater source through means of runoff, erosion, or leaching. The example photo on the right shows wind erosion from soil off of a field collecting in a nearby ditch. Nonpoint source pollution can come from a variety of different places. These can be natural sources, urban, residential, agricultural, or industrial. An example of nonpoint source pollution would be a car sitting on the street that's leaking oil. After a large rain event, the oil that is dripped underneath that vehicle is washed into the stormwater system and eventually enters the river. Likewise, we can give example for agricultural nonpoint source pollution, whether that be wind erosion on a field that has not implemented cover crops or residue, or cattle watering directly into a stream system. In order to quantify the concentration of nonpoint source pollutants in a water body, we conduct monitoring. The North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality prioritizes nutrients, total suspended solids, and E. coli as the major pollutants of concern delivered to water bodies through nonpoint source pollution. All data collected by NDDEQ is made available through the Water Quality Data Portal and can be utilized by the districts in order to see what the water quality is in your area. Nonpoint source pollution can have significant impacts. One very commonly seen on lakes in North Dakota are harmful algal blooms. These blooms occur in waters with excess nutrients and can release toxins that are harmful to humans and animals. Another would be fish kills, which typically occur in waters with low dissolved oxygen. The State of North Dakota Nonpoint Source Pollution Management Program is housed in the North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality and is tasked with addressing and mitigating nonpoint source pollution in North Dakota. To do so, the program utilizes Section 319 Clean Water Act funds to support statewide and local efforts through grants. Eligible recipients for these grants include non-federal organizations or agencies, so state agencies, non-governmental organizations, universities, cities, county boards, soil conservation districts, etc. The primary mission of the state nonpoint source program is to implement a voluntary, incentive-based program that protects and restores the chemical, physical, and biological integrity of the waters where the beneficial uses are threatened or impaired due to nonpoint source pollution. There are a variety of projects that can be supported with Clean Water Act Section 319 funds. The first is watershed implementation projects, where the sponsor entity utilizes funds for best management practice implementation through the facilitation of a voluntary cost share program. The image depicted here is a screenshot from our Interactives watershed map on the NDDEQ website. Through this map feature, you can click on the individual watershed areas and see who the sponsor agency is, what cost share is available, and get the contact information for the project coordinator. The Section 319 Nonpoint Source Program has its own set of cost share guidelines, which outlines the best management practices, or BMPs, that are eligible to be reimbursed through this funding source. This list includes a subset of NRCS practices which are specifically used to address water quality and soil health concerns, as well as additional practices that have been deemed necessary by the program to mitigate non-point source pollution, including septic tank renovations and repairs and rural water hookups. Other projects that are eligible to be supported by the 319 Clean Water Act grants include assessments, which are used to determine what impairments are present in a water body based on data that is collected over a 2-year period, information and education projects, which can cater to all ages and be on a variety of different topics, including non-point source pollution, soil health, and water quality, and lastly, support projects, which are designed to provide technical and financial assistance to landowners wanting to implement best management practices. A list of all active 319 projects can be found on our annual story map. To showcase successful non-point source pollution mitigation funded through the Section 319 grants, the North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality, in collaboration with the Environmental Protection Agency, publishes success stories. These stories highlight the water quality improvements associated with best management practice implementation in local water project areas. All published success stories for the state of North Dakota are linked on the NDDEQ webpage. More information about the Non-Point Source Pollution Management Program and the Section 319 grants is available through the North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality's website, by contacting the Non-Point Source Pollution Management Program Coordinator with the NDDEQ directly, or by consulting with active and past non-point source project sponsors and the NDSU Extension Program Coordinators team. Now let's review. Non-point source pollution is any pollutant delivered to a surface water by means of erosion or runoff, or to a groundwater source by means of leaching. We can verify non-point source pollution issues by monitoring and collecting water quality samples and visual observations and impacts such as harmful algal blooms. Involvement in the state non-point source program is 100% voluntary, and cost share is available to help cover staffing, supplies, and on-the-ground best management practice implementation. Now take a moment to pause this presentation and consider the following questions. Thank you for your time, and thank you for all that you do for conservation and non-point source pollution mitigation in the state of North Dakota.